I remember being small, maybe just old enough to reach the kitchen counter on my tiptoes. There was a certain kind of quiet that would fall over our house, a silence so heavy you could feel it in your bones. It often came after my father raised his voice, a sound that wasn't just loud but carried an echo of something older, something I couldn't name. He never meant to cause hurt. I see that now with the clarity of hindsight. He was simply scared. It was a fear he had inherited, a quiet panic passed down to him from his parents, and theirs before them. This fear moved like a shadow through our family, a silent, uninvited guest at our dinner table. This shadow was not a ghost or a figment. It was a real and palpable force. It was a survival skill I mastered without ever being explicitly taught. It was a borrowed anxiety, part of a larger story I was born into without knowing its beginning. So, what exactly is this shadow we call generational trauma? In simple terms, it is pain that does not end with the person who first experiences it. It is trauma that moves across time, a ripple effect that travels from grandparents to their children and even their children's children. This is not about a single, isolated event, but often stems from overwhelming experiences: war, systemic racism, poverty, displacement, and loss. These are not just stories in a history book. They are lived experiences that leave deep and lasting marks on the human spirit. These traumatic experiences change people. They alter how a person sees the world, how they trust others. Generational trauma does not always manifest as a clear, diagnosable wound. More often, it hides in plain sight, disguised as family norms or personality traits. It might look like a parent who is emotionally distant because they were taught that showing vulnerability is a weakness. The cycle continues, not out of malice or a lack of love. How does this intangible pain actually move from one person to the next? It travels along invisible threads, weaving through the fabric of a family. The most direct route is behavior. Children are masterful observers. They learn more from what we do than from what we say. If a parent copes with stress by withdrawing into silence, the child learns that silence is the appropriate response to difficult emotions. If a parent reacts to conflict with explosive anger, the child learns that anger is a tool for control or communication. Those learned behaviors become ingrained, automatic responses carried into adulthood. The second thread is storytelling, or the absence of it. Equally powerful, stories never told, family secrets. Though we don't talk about that, silences. Children feel the weight of those voids. Phrases like, "We must always be strong," and "We don't air our dirty laundry." The third thread, biological. Chronic early stress can change the nervous system. That creates hypervigilance, a constant heightened state of alert. Epigenetics suggests trauma can alter gene expression. The body keeps the score, holding memories in tension. The weight of this history can feel overwhelming, but here's the most important truth. The cycle of generational trauma is not an unbreakable chain. It can be interrupted. The path to healing begins not with a grand gesture, but with small, courageous acts of awareness of self-compassion. The very first step is simply to get curious. Begin looking at our own patterns and our family's story with gentle inquiry instead of judgment. Ask small, open-ended questions. If it feels safe, you might ask an older relative, "What was it like for you when you were young?" Once we begin to see the patterns, name what we are feeling. There's power in giving a name to our emotions. Instead of a vague unease, we can say, "I am feeling scared right now." Healing is not a solitary journey. The third step is to share the load. Trauma thrives in isolation and silence. It loses power when brought into the light of a safe connection. Asking for help is not weakness, it's courage. Healing from generational trauma is also about consciously choosing to write a new story for the future. As we become more aware of the patterns we've inherited, we gain the power to choose a different path for the next generation. This doesn't require perfection. It simply requires intention. It means teaching our children a different way. We can teach them the language of feelings, creating a home where it is safe to say, "I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm scared." We can model how to repair relationships after a conflict by saying, "I'm sorry." These small but revolutionary acts teach children that all emotions are valid. Forgiveness is a personal choice, not a requirement for healing. You do not have to forgive past harms in order to heal from them. Healing is about reclaiming your own sense of safety and agency. Your healing journey is yours alone. Its purpose is to create a life where you feel safe, whole, and free to be your authentic self. Many people find creative expression becomes vital to healing. Art, music, writing. Others find comfort and strength in community. The path looks different for everyone, but you have a choice today. You can be the one who lets in the light.